Today on StayCoppinKicks, we talking about Evo Moment number 37.
Rare footage of Daigo actually angry. Justin's turtle style. Overcome Rao. Now on the verge of putting Daigo down 1-0.
What's good, everyone? Welcome to StayCoppinKicks. My name is that dude Curtis. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me right now, and I appreciate that. If you like my content, please like, share, and subscribe. And with that said, let's get into today's topic. Street Fighter 6 just released for pretty much all the mainline consoles, and as a fighting game fan, I've been hooked on that over the last couple weeks, which is part of the reason why I've been delayed a little bit with some of my content. But don't worry, I'll be back with a lot of good ones coming soon. But I definitely wanted to talk about one of the best Street Fighter collabs, and not just Street Fighter collabs actually, but fighting game collabs that ever released, or at least in my opinion. Street Fighter has had a lot of collaborations and shoes made by different brands. There were some Adidas Street Fighter shoes. I believe Puma had a relationship with Street Fighter, as well as some other brands. But in my opinion, one of the best things Street Fighter related or just fighting game related in general we've seen is this pair of Air Force One. Now this shoe was kind of lost in the shuffle thanks to COVID and everything around that with the supply chain issues and whatnot. So it ended up actually showing up in a lot of Nike outlets. Now a lot of people were picking these up and really had no idea what the significance of them were, because if you're just looking at it, it looks like a pretty basic plain Air Force One. Obviously the materials are a little bit different and the design of the swoosh is a little bit different, but you kind of have to know what this is about. So it all starts with Evo Moment number 37. And for those who don't know, Evo stands for the Evolution Fighting Game Tournament. It's one of the biggest fighting game tournaments in the world. I actually got to participate in it a few years ago. I would love to go back, and it just happens every year, and it's an awesome place to go, especially if you're into fighting games. Now, Moment 37 is considered one of the greatest moments in Evo history as well as Street Fighter history in general. It took place on Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, which is arguably considered one of the greatest fighting games ever made. And it's a situation between Justin Wong and Daigo, who are two of the top tier Street Fighter players in the world. Now, what makes the moment so special is a couple things. Number one is actually the number one Evo moment. It's called Evo Moment number 37 only because of the fact that when they were making a highlight reel of Evo moments, they decided to just give it a random number, so that way if anybody saw it, they would be like, oh wow, this is hype as hell, and they've got 36 ones that are better than it, and it would just build, you know, hype for people to come and check out Evo, check out the live streams and everything. But the reality is Evo Moment number 37 is number one in Street Fighter and Evo history. What makes it so hype is Daigo, who again is one of the greatest Street Fighter players ever in the history of the game, is about to lose. Justin Wong is set up to get his victory, and all he has to do essentially is land one hit on Daigo. One clean hit and Daigo dies. Or one blocked hit, especially from a super, and Daigo dies. Well, Justin does his super, and in Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, there was a technique they had that was called the parry. Now, parry, if you're familiar with fighting in general, is essentially an offensive block. It's a way of blocking and getting an attack in. But in Street Fighter, normally when you play fighting games, the block button is done by pressing back on the controller. You press back or away from your opponent and your character blocks. And when your character blocks, normally they sustain either no damage or limited damage. But again, in this situation, one hit was going to take out Daigo. And in addition to that, one hit from a super was definitely going to take out Daigo. So his only option was to do a parry. And with a parry, the danger of it is you're not hitting back, or you're not just holding back. You have to press forward. So, you know, in most of these games, forward is the walk button. It's walking forward. So you have to press forward, and so he had to press forward, and in addition to pressing forward, he had to press forward at every single one of the attacks that Justin launched at him. And then he had to convert that into his own super in order to take Justin down. And that's what made it so incredible, because the dexterity it took to block every single one of these attacks. Like, see, he had to know the timing of the attack, because again, it's not as simple as just pressing a button. It's having to know exactly when to press the button. And this shoe is a dedication to that. So let me tell you a little bit more about the shoe itself. So the shoe was partially designed by Mark Julio, who is one of the business directors at Evo. He also has one of the largest fighting stick collections in the entire world. So Mark partnered with Nike to create this model. Now, the shoe doesn't have all the elements that were initially planned for it. Of course, time constraints and budget constraints restricted them a little bit, but it does have a lot of great elements that tie to that moment. If you're able to get the shoe new or complete in box from the secondary market, one of the first things you'll notice is it does come with a white bag. I don't have mine with me right now, but it basically says it's not over until it's over. It was a famous catchphrase delivered by one of the commentators as Justin Wong made an amazing comeback in Marvel vs. Capcom 2 during Evo. So what makes the shoe a celebration of Street Fighter and Evo is the subtle design language around the shoe itself. So throughout the shoe, it has elements of Moment 37 and that miraculous comeback. So we're going to start with the heel tab. The heel tab has a offset double Nike logo. This is set to represent the KO sign at the end of the fight after Daigo pulled off that amazing comeback. The lace dubray where it says Air Force One is in reference to the color of the super bar in Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. The white canvas and laces are in reference to the color of Ken's gi during that match. Normally Ken is known for wearing his red gi in Street Fighter, and this guy right here is known for the white gi. But another popular color that a lot of people use is Ken and the white gi. This is my go-to when I played Street Fighter Alpha 3. So now on the side with this swoosh, this one again is doubled, and this is designed to mimic the shadowing effect that Chun-Li has when she's doing her super on Ken. So then the air on the midsole is also in reference to the super meter that Chun-Li had with the lighter color. And then at the top lace loop right here, you'll notice rather than being a traditional hole, it's spiked off. And that's designed to look like the spark from the parry when you start that offensive block. And then finally, the biggest connection to what happened in Moment 37 is on the behind the tongue, where they actually have the button commands that Daigo had to enter in order to pull off that parry and then cancel into super. So if you see, you can see all the different times he had to press forward in order to block every single kick that Chun-Li delivered. So again, one of the things I love about sneakers is when it connects beyond just the sneaker itself, and there's history that ties into other interests and loves that I have, or just a deeper meaning for the artist or designer. So what are some of your favorite Street Fighter shoes, or your favorite collabs in general? What's your favorite Street Fighter game? Are you playing Street Fighter 6? Sound off in the comments below. And with that said, stay copping kicks.